Today, we're going to break down one of the most overlooked areas when it comes to turning viewers into subscribers and how you can tap into some of these strategies that nobody else is using.
Hey, welcome to the Video Creators Podcast presented by vidIQ. You know how you put a lot of time and energy into your YouTube channel for not nearly enough growth? Yep, we get it. We are here today to help you change that.
Hello, creators. How are you guys? Welcome back to another Video Creators Podcast brought to you by vidIQ, like we do every Monday for you. Today, I'm hanging out with Blake and Ingrid. How's it going, guys?
Hey there.
It's going well.
It's a special day today. Do you guys know why?
Tell us why, Sam.
Today is the 400th episode of the Video Creators Podcast. How crazy is that?
I know. We need party sounds for this at this moment.
Yes.
So
I know. Yeah,
Yes.
pipe them in. We got to get some celebration happening here.
yeah.
That's amazing. 400 episodes. I mean, I listened to this podcast long before I became a YouTube strategist here at Video Creators. What about you guys?
Oh yeah, same for me. I remember when I found it. Actually, it was during the pandemic, and I remember binging back as far as I could go before. I binged back as far as I could go before Tim started talking about how keywords were important, and then I was like, I'm going to stop here. This is a little bit too far. But yeah,
I was going to say that right there tells you how long this has been happening. So speaking of a lot of changes over the years with YouTube, there's been a lot of changes recently. I'm sure you guys have been seeing these with specifically like the channel pages. So a lot of these different elements and things, a lot of updates happening. So I kind of wanted to talk today just about the channel page and, how do we leverage some of these updates? What are maybe some changes or some kind of optimizations we can do as a creator to just sort of make that space as strategic as possible? So I kind of figured maybe we could just start with why is the channel page important in the first place? What do you guys think?
I know for me, it's your first impression. Yeah, it's like, it's if I get someone this far, it's like I really want to set this up the best of my ability to convince them to not click away. And it's like, as a whole, I do consider the entire thing like my portfolio. Like if I were to go in for a job interview, it's like, here's my work. Let's make it stand out to really grab your eyes, grab your attention, and make you want to stick around a bit more. So I think it's a lot more important than people think. As much as we say don't judge a book by its cover, people will do that, and that's essentially what you're doing in that moment.
That's so funny that you say that. I just got off a consultation before we started recording, and I literally said those words to the guy.
Me and Sam are on the same wavelength.
We're on the same page today. Yeah. No, it's so true though. I mean, it's like YouTube is such a visual platform. I mean, that's why it's so different from Google, because Google is just text and white screens. But YouTube, there's so much happening with images. I mean, it really is you kind of do need to judge a book by its cover, because that's going to be the first impression. Like you said, that's going to be the thing that gets somebody through the door.
Yeah, I feel like it's such an opportunity for creators. And just earlier in the episode, you were talking about that, how it's like really an underrated thing. A lot of people don't actually utilize it correctly. And I think that's so true. And with all the changes that YouTube has been making, because they really are trying to think viewer first, right? What serves the viewer to have that really positive experience. And I just think of just my own viewing habits. I come to a video that's usually on my homepage or in the suggested feed, but for me, usually on the homepage. And if I like what I saw or heard, I will go to the channel page and I'll explore. And it always just is amazing to me how many people do not have a strategy for that first impression. I think it's just such a missed opportunity for so many.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, because it's rare that a very first time viewer is just going to land on your channel page. I think there's sort of a different intent from the viewer's perspective when they're watching your content. And then when they land on your page, there's sort of a different question in the back of their head. And usually it's kind of let me find out more. Is this for me? Should I subscribe? They're kind of more of a warmer lead at that point. So it's a good opportunity to sort of meet them there and kind of give them a reason to subscribe. Because I agree, there's a lot of creators that it's almost a second, an afterthought. Let me just put up some nice branding for the banner and that's about it. But there isn't really much strategy happening there.
Yeah.
I do find that for me, when people don't make it easy for me, it's almost like a letdown. And because I have to really have loved that video to take the time to figure out if this is something I want to give my time to. Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
I think it's also if I find myself watching a creator multiple times, even if it's over like a week or a month span too, if I see them enough, I'm like, okay, now I want to see what this is all about. If I keep seeing this, let's check it out. And I also like and this is my perspective too, going into it, like whenever I pull it up and I see a really well optimized channel page, it just feels that much more professional than seeing the defaulted of like, like you can tell the difference when something's really fleshed out as opposed to like, it's just a simple layout. I'm like, okay, they really are like committed to this too. It shows your commitment to the channel also.
Yeah. It's such an easy lift too. What we're talking about today is something that every single person listening to this podcast can implement. You will give you action steps at the end of how to actually execute this. It's something that every single person listening, no matter what your niche is, can actually do to help yourself.
Yeah. And I think too, like when it comes to the channel page, I feel like usually people don't give it much time because it doesn't feel like much of a needle mover. Where like, if we're being honest, it's not. You're not going to update your branding on your channel banner and like blow up the channel tomorrow. But what I think it does do is it creates a lot of clarity. And so for the person watching your content and then visiting your page and then maybe going to visit your webpage, like off of YouTube, if you're selling something, if you have some consistent language or it's just like a clear package as far as what you're going to offer value wise to your audience, that clarity means so much. Like it really makes a big difference, kind of in conjunction with the rest of your strategies.
I find that there's two real values here for this. One is really for a creator to really hone in on their own messaging and really understand from a crystal clear perspective what value they bring and their content brings for the viewer. So if you're new to YouTube, this is 100% something to lean into. And then from the other side, you have to really look at it, especially if you have a business. The clearer you are here and the better you are at conveying what value you bring to a viewer, you're going to get the right viewers. Mm-hmm. And if you have a business, that's what you want because you're trying to drive people probably to something that you're selling. So speaking to the right people versus just anybody matters. And that's where this can really actually, it's not like Sam said, it's not a needle mover like you're going to blow up tomorrow, but it can be in a sense of getting the right people to your content.
Yeah, sometimes I think of the whole channel as like we're kind of working on like a car. And it's like you want to have each part of the car kind of set up for success and kind of optimized because then it's going to all work together really cohesively and kind of get you where you're trying to go.
Like really, I can make a car that runs without any body on it and it still runs, but the attraction is the body you put on afterwards that people are really drawn into it, right? It's the same idea that way.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, what do you guys feel like are like maybe some traps that creators fall into when it comes to just channel design in general?
I think one of the biggest traps is creators, when they look at all this, they make it all about them. Yeah. And you kind of miss the point that it's not, I said with all love, it's not about you at all. Your channel page, your banner, all of this, it's about me.
Yeah. Even when it is about you, it's not about you. Like there's lifestyle channels, like even one of the coaches on the team, like, lifestyle channels are to me are like, one of the channels I'm still exploring and understanding a bit more. And for her, like just chatting with her for a while, like the channel essentially is focused around her, but she has a value to that channel of like, I want to help motivate people to be their best selves. So even though it's about watching her day, her routine, it's put back on the viewer, and that's her intention. Like, okay, this is a lot more outward than it is inward than I realized.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's a good truth bomb. Remember, it's all about Ingrid. he said, it's all about me. So lean into that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
I think next VP is going to have Ingrid in the name. So my channel exists to help Ingrid.
It's not.
Yes.
Not at all.
Sheep. Yes.
Yes. The shearing sheep. Yeah. Yes. Throwback to last episode.
Yeah.
No, because I think I want to take that thought, but I don't want somebody to think like, well, oh, I can't show a picture of myself then, or like reference myself in my maybe channel branding or anything like that. Because I think there's a lot of power for someone to be able to connect with you like on a human level. So I do think there's value to show yourself. But maybe
100%.
just to take what Blake was saying and sort of put that together, if you can show yourself kind of doing the thing that you like, showing the value that you're showing your audience, that can be really powerful too. I talked to a guy earlier today who has a channel all about like cruise tips, helping people get the best experience out of their travels on cruise ships. And for him, he had some photos of him and his wife, but it was kind of just like in their living room, and it wasn't really in the context of on the cruise, like experiencing a vacation kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So there can be a lot of power in, what if they were sipping margaritas or like, on the beach or kind of embodying the value that they're hoping to bring their audience in the same way that maybe like this lifestyle channel that you were talking about, like, if she were to show herself sort of like doing the thing that's going to ideally inspire her audience to kind of embody that value and pursue, feeling better, that kind of a thing. There's a lot of power in that too, because the viewer is going to sort of imagine themselves in that story of like the image that they're seeing and the banner. So there's a lot of power in that for sure. Yeah,
I mean, it's the role model. Like you always need a face to the action as well too. Like, I mean, this is going to sound like a weird one, but like I think of just because we're in Christmas mode, Santa Claus. Like everyone knows what Santa Claus is, but we know what he stands for, which is like, joy for children, bring gifts to children. It's more about what he does than just the image itself. But it's an image. It's a role model. It's an image to look towards, and that can go for anything, religion, all the same things too.
Yeah, I think that it's what I don't want you to hear. Then that's a great point. I'm glad you brought this up, Sam. It's not so much about me that we don't want you. We definitely want you because you're the leader. YouTube's a conversation. This is about a relationship between you, the viewer, and me, the content creator. So obviously it would make sense to have the leader of the channel in the channel banner. And I think leading visually is always a good thing. So definitely incorporate that. But I think one of the common traps, and that's kind of, I think, where we entered into this conversation here, is having just a picture of just the creator and the name of the channel. That tells me nothing.
Yeah, or even like the branding. I think usually there's a big emphasis on branding, especially if you already have a business kind of on another website. Like we're going to make that huge on the banner. But like the first time viewer, that doesn't mean anything to them yet.
Nothing.
They don't. No. There's no association with that. And even with that too, I don't know about you guys, but sort of like the corporate feel or corporateness, like I see a lot of about sections that use like we language, like we here at Video Creators help
third person.
Yeah. And it feels just less personal. It feels more like a floating
Make it more
entity.
Conversational. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. If you're just copying your about page from your website and pasting it into the YouTube about section, we encourage you not to. We encourage you to go the complete opposite end of the spectrum and have a conversation with me, the viewer reading it, as if we were just talking to each other.
Yeah,
I want you to.
So make it the way you text your friend. That same, I would just do that in that approach, right?
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like people subscribe to people. It's like there's so many channels out there nowadays that I feel like the channels that you really choose to go to their channel page and like really subscribe to them is you kind of know who they are a little bit. They kind of feel like a person you know. So yeah, more of that sort of personal language of like, who are you as a human? And then like, what's the value I can expect to get from this channel? Great. Ideally if those things are sort of optimized, you're way more subscribable.
And I think that's a great point, Sam, the human side. Everything, and you might notice that we've said that before, everything is about being human, the human touch, the human approach. YouTube's going to surface the right video to the right person at the right time. So again, it's about people. It's about human connection.
Yeah. And speaking of human connection, this is my opportunity to talk about Ryan Trahan in today's episode. I feel like that's such an important thing because when you see like his channel banners and things like that, it's like they they're almost
he's
unoptimized.
serious. You're really going to talk about Ryan.
I am. Yeah. This is my segue talking about the human connection. Yeah. Because they're so unoptimized, but it still fits his like comedy and like who he is and some of his primal branding. Like his like Howdy. We know Howdy is like a big primal branding thing of his. That'll like just be his about. He changes it, I feel like, pretty often, but that'll just be like his about section. It'll just say like Howdy, and then maybe there's some other details and things there too. But it's very relatable. It doesn't feel like a corporate kind of thing.
I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Oh, please do. Let's do it.
Okay, you had me at Howdy. I'm looking at it now. You had me at Howdy to you from Ryan. That's actually cute. I like that. and the about section, just a guy. Okay. Are you telling me that you would recommend this to somebody who has 100 subscribers?
No,
that's a good point.
That's where I was going to say too. Is like I know this works for some people, but it's like, and then we get pushback from creators all the time of like, well, this person doesn't do a trailer. Well, this person doesn't do it. It's like, imagine if they did. Like, you know, for Ryan, obviously he has a community that's built around him. Same with Mr. Beast for a while had like subscribe for a cookie. Like it meant nothing, right? But it worked for him for his branding. But if they took the time to really craft something and had a really effective channel or a trailer or effective banner with a value proposition on it, like it's that much more they could add to it. Again, it won't blow the channel up, but it's like that much more clarity to what they're doing, right? So 100%. I think at a point where like where Ryan's at now, like he has the freedom to do that. But if a person will have the subscribers, not right now.
Yeah, I would say too, the sort of your niche matters. Like I think when it's more maybe an entertainment sort of thing, it's like he has a value proposition and he's very intentional behind the scenes as far as the type of content he's making and the why behind everything. But I think he can kind of get away with things like this. If you were to think of like a finance channel, like how to invest your money or something like that, there's a much more tangible value. That's probably a lot more helpful to sort of lead with that in your channel design. And it might not go quite as far to have maybe something more tongue in cheek kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
there's a time and place. Upfront with Ryan though too. Like I know that he has one, but it's like I have to do some digging to figure it out. As opposed to if I land on the channel and see what it's about, now I have full context going into the videos of what to expect through that, right? So it would add more for sure.
So we covered some of the traps like that are easy to fall into as a creator, maybe some things not to do. But I'd love to make it practical, and because the channel page there's a lot there. Like we sort of referenced the about section, we've referenced, the channel banner, but there's a lot more there. Maybe we could just kind of go like destination by destination on the channel page and just kind of talk through like best practices. How do we make each of these areas as streamlined as possible? So maybe we could just start with the banner. What would you guys say to a creator?
I think one of the biggest takeaways for any creator when we actually do a live consultation or we coach them around this principle is visual storytelling in the channel banner.
Good.
Thank you. And the channel art. If you can visually tell me what the value is without text, that is powerful. It's a visual platform. Too often I see just like, first off, white or just black is just going to blend into everything else. You really want that to kind of pop and draw me in. Same principles as thumbnails even. Have focus. Don't have so much going on that it's too noisy and I can't focus on what you want me to see or read. So definitely showing versus telling.
Yeah, that's one thing I agree with too. I think same rule applies across all of YouTube. Like thumbnails, you want to show versus tell. You can definitely have it written up there, like your creed or your value proposition, but the more I can illustrate, whatever the emotion is you're trying to portray, the better too. Because again, it's judging a book by its cover. And like, again, we process images in milliseconds. Imagine seeing that and communicating it's a gaming channel right away, or it's an adventure channel right away. Like again, Yes Theory, I think they changed theirs right now actually for something else they're working on. But for theirs illustrates exactly what their value is. Like every shot is a picture of them. There's one in a cave where they're having an adventure, one where they're hugging and laughing, where they're building community. Like it's everything what they're about is within that. So
Yeah, I think one of my favorite examples is Keto Focus, the keto diet channel. Ingrid, one of your favorite channels.
It's a cooking channel. Yeah.
Yes. So hers is amazing. You know,
It is.
when you think of a keto diet, you know, no carbs, the last thing you think of is a big delicious stack of pancakes, and that's like a huge element of her channel banner. Like there's such high value there, without needing to say that. You know, the whole pictures worth 1,000 words is so true.
But you know what's really great about that banner? It's the thing that is not keto. So immediately somebody who keto focused, just her channel name in general, you know, you land on a video and you know that you're there because you want to, you know, learn more recipes or more about keto in general. And then you get there and you see pancakes. Now there's tension. It's intriguing, you know, because you're like, what? That's not keto. So immediately when you see, you know, one of the next things that we're going to probably talk about is the value proposition that she has there, the value that she's proposing to you. I think it's something like, you know, your favorite recipes turned keto so that you feel good, stay focused, and on track. I mean, that just hits you where it hurts. It's so intentional. It's a brilliant, and there's a picture of her as well as the leader over to the other side. It's a absolute brilliant channel art.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think too, one of the things I like most about her sort of value proposition that she has there is it's so targeted to her audience's pain points. Like that's another thing too, like being on a keto diet and removing carbs I mean, I've never been on one personally, but I've heard you can be really brain foggy and you lose a lot of energy. It can just be hard to kind of stay on track and hit your goals. So now it's no longer like, you know, just the diet and ending there. It's like, well, it's keto diets, but ultimately I'm giving you this thing. Because it's like her audience, they're probably not just walking around life thinking about like, you know, I really wish I could be on a keto diet today. You know, they're probably more like, I really wish that I could feel good and like, stay focused. So that's the thing that she's selling. Like that's the value that she's giving them.
It's the deeper why. Like it seems any fitness channel. It's like people want to get fit, but why is it they want to get fit? Well, I want to feel less sluggish. I want to be able to, you know, get back to playing sports again. I want to be able to be around for, you know, my grandkids. Like there's always a deeper why behind that. Same with finances, you know, I want to make money, but what's the root behind that? Well, I want to be able to have more time with my family. You know, if I can visually show those things or be on a beach, like if I can visually show those things on the banner or if with words, like leaning into that reward for them, what they really want and show the transformation. I would even think for a fitness channel, I could show the transformation of like maybe a body someone might feel insecure about to like where they want to be. That's visual stimulation of like, oh, that's exactly what I want. I'm in the right place for this then too, right? That's what, if we can communicate that, it doesn't even really need words, right? So
let's take our channel. Sure. Video creators, right? YouTube strategy. There's not a whole lot you can do. Yeah, you can have some graphs. We could probably put some graphs up there in the YouTube logo, but we have part of our value proposition is YouTube strategy for your next 1 million subscribers. There's your pain point and the leaders of the channel. So that's the visual part is what you're going to be seeing, especially because now we're mostly a podcasting channel. Whereas before we had a lot of different other discoverable and community type videos in addition to all that. But I feel like, you know, I think of some of those other niches like the motivational space.
Yeah, I could picture for that though. I mean, a couple ways I could picture someone on stage talking to a crowd. I could picture that. I could picture somebody like that in comparison to somebody like motivating for like a race or for, you know, a workout. Like a lot of times I've watched those motivational videos. It's been just a series of those clips from speaking to like, you know, training for something that really is a visual story for me.
Yeah.
But I think there's also resources too that can help you. Like, I mean, now that like there are AI, like one thing that I do, if I can't visually pitch either, what I used to do was type it into Google, like give me an image of this just to get the brain flowing of like, how can I visually show this? But now with AI, I can ask like ChatGPT to give me an image based around this. And at least it'll give me the idea to think about what I can use for the banner or how I can communicate this visually in a way that I might not have thought about.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really interesting. This is kind of making me think too of just kind of like thumbnail suggestions that I give creators that I talk to, because you can make a great thumbnail that's maybe a little bit more text heavy, and not like heavy in the sense where there's a lot of text, but the text is carrying the weight of the curiosity.
Yeah.
But there's other channels where it's visual, like mainly the visual showing is what can carry the weight the most. And so different niches, it's just an experiment that you could run. So maybe it could be the same with the channel banner too. Maybe if it's more of an abstract idea that you can't really show, like a stack of pancakes kind of a thing, maybe there's a couple of strong words of text or a strong value proposition that is sort of the main intrigue there.
I mean, if your audience is very analytical, I mean, when I used to we do work with creators in Video Labs. One creator I worked with, she I mentioned how she prefers thumbnails with words on it as opposed to those without words. So maybe your audience is just more technical in that, where they need the words to kind of let them know what they're getting into. If I think of like maybe programmers or anybody who might be in the finance niche, or like people who are really into Excel, like maybe they like reading more than visuals, and that's how they learn a lot faster too, right? So if that's your audience, that makes total sense.
Definitely. I haven't had this consultation yet, but there's a guy I'm talking to soon who has a math channel. He's a math teacher. Please, wish me luck going into that, because it's hurting my brain. It's like really advanced
calculus and
calculus, all
trigonometry.
Kinds of stuff. I've learned so much watching his content already. But for something like him, it's like, visually, what can we really show besides like equations?
Numbers.
Numbers. Yeah, maybe there's more text we can lean into as far as what's the why behind the channel.
Yeah, and that helps. I think the visuals help with the context, for what you're going to see, and just making you feel like you're in the right place. But I think even for those niches, I just really wanted to open up this conversation around this, because I know that there are people in the audience that are sitting there going, well, I don't have a cooking channel. It's not that simple. Right. So it's just really kind of more the point of, you can do things, and you can also add other little subtleties, like with the math channel, equations and stuff that's becomes the background.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, so that you feel like you're in the right place at the same time.
Yeah, that's important. Kind of the context or the expectation for that viewer. If they don't feel like they're in the right place, that can make a big impact.
Yeah,
like kind of sort
I
of
think
the setting.
Like
cool
programming channels, or like even Excel, like even having the logo of Excel up there will just tell you in itself too visual, hey, you're in the right spot. So you can just show the logos of the programming languages too. Someone on a computer, like anything that kind of illustrates that point a little bit too. But you don't have to overdo it either. Definitely don't clutter it either at the same time. Like the last thing I want for anybody to go do then is like just put all these images on there where it's just, there's so much going on. Choose a couple, choose two.
And you also have to pay attention. There is an actual template that you can Google for the YouTube channel art template, because you also want to make sure that you are also optimizing for mobile.
Definitely. Good tip. That's a good tip.
Yes,
for sure. I think this is a really good place to maybe sit in a little bit more, though, as far as the expectation and sort of making somebody feel like they're in the right place. And I think a channel trailer really can do that, because when you visit somebody's homepage, it just starts auto playing. If you have a trailer there, it's just going to start playing. So it's a really quick way to sort of, again, set sort of the expectation, talk directly to the viewer. We had kind of touched on a channel trailer a little bit ago, but maybe we can lean into that a bit more. Why make a trailer?
I think a trailer, it's your business card. That's how you have to kind of think of it. It's your elevator pitch, your 30-second pitch. I would recommend, honestly, from a best practice standpoint, that a trailer is no more than 90 seconds. Sweet spot would be 45 to 60 seconds. Anything longer than that, people just aren't going to get to the end. And the whole purpose of that, is to actually do a call to action to subscribe to the channel at the end. You end it immediately, no end screens, no watch another video or anything like that, because YouTube will actually bring up this big giant subscribe button, because the whole goal, the intention of a channel trailer is to actually get somebody to subscribe. So it's an opportunity for you to really pitch a little bit about your creation story, who you are, what value you're even bringing to the channel. And then don't make it so difficult for me. Get me to subscribe. Make me want to be a part of your world. I love channel trailers. I think it's such an underutilized tool for a creator.
Yeah, I think it's your first interaction with somebody, so I get to see your personality before even diving into it too. So it's the best place to pitch yourself in terms of like who I am, right? Because again, one of the biggest things people subscribe for is because of the creator. So if I can really explain who I am as a person and why my channel started, or just a bit about my life, it's like that relationship happens so much faster, right? And that can auto play in the background. You know, I might just hear your voice and hear something you say that might, you know, trigger me to be like, oh, wow, that sounds just like me, right? And that's what's going to pull me in.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes, it's such a personal touch point you can have too. It's like that's an opportunity for you to just speak directly to that person. Sometimes I think of it like if you're walking into a restaurant and you sort of have the greeters and they like come and meet you and then they sort of lead you to where you need to go. It's a good opportunity to sort of like invite somebody in to your channel. It's like, well, you're in the right place. This is what the value is. This is who I am. Go ahead and subscribe. You know, do your call to action to subscribe. Keep it short and simple, but it's it's a greeting. You know, it's a good opportunity to just talk and like introduce yourself.
I think one of the biggest traps that I see creators fall into when it comes to the channel trailer spaces, they just put like their most recent video there, or they put like their best performing video, just thinking that this page is just another place to get more views. And you're missing the point of the channel homepage when you do that. This is an opportunity, because here's the thing, a channel trailer is only going to play for non-subscribers. Your subscribers are never going to see it. The subscribers, you have an opportunity to put another video there. So you can put whatever you want there. But for your non-subscribers, be intentional here. Mm-hmm. And really, like Blake said, that the channel page in general, think of it as your portfolio. The trailer is your business card.
Yeah.
So make a great first impression.
Totally agree. Here's a question. I get this question a lot for somebody considering making a trailer. And let's say they have a big library of content already. Maybe they have a lot of subscribers already. And they ask, should I make this public? Should I do that when I upload this new trailer, should I just upload it public on the channel, or should I keep this unlisted? Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think it's totally fine to keep it public. I upload it public. If you just don't want it going out to all your people, on the back end, you can uncheck the box that says notify subscribers. And that way, when it goes public, they just won't be notified of it. So they would actually have to go to your video page in order to see it there. And they maybe surfaced it, but it's not really a bad thing. And is it so bad that your subscribers even hear what your value is? Because maybe they never saw it in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. Do you guys feel differently?
No, I agree. I
don't see a downside.
I'd post it publicly too. Yeah, I don't see a big deal in it. And I was one channel I worked with recently who did his channel trailer. He had a smaller channel, and his videos were getting probably like 50 views. Made a channel trailer, really poured his heart into it and like who he was. Over 1,000 views, like right away. I was just like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, it really does a lot more than you realize. So
yeah. And if you have people that unsubscribe, that's okay too. Yeah. It just means that they weren't really your people to begin with. They spent their season on your channel, and it's just time for you to open the door and let them out of the car. And that's okay too, because if they're not watching your stuff, it's not valuable to you anyway.
Yeah, there's a good distinction there, because maybe you've never shared your value proposition before, or you've never created one. So there's a lot of or maybe you want to change direction. There's actually a guy I worked with for a couple months who was wanting to pivot. You know, he wanted to sort of go a new direction with the channel, and he never had a value proposition, and he never had a channel trailer. So we did a trailer, really leaned into this new value proposition, and then posted it publicly on the channel, where it's the kind of thing where even a lot of the existing subscribers really resonated with it. And it was like, cool, boy, this is the new direction we're going. I'm on board. Because like his was more of kind of a creed type of value proposition. So, you know, they really shared that belief with him, and he had a handful of people unsubscribe too, which is great. Yeah, you know, we're sort of just getting the right people in front of us, giving YouTube clarity as far as who to give your content to. So
I get a lot of creators that also say, you know, well, Mr. Beast doesn't have one, and so, you know, 10 million subscribers doesn't have one. You know, what big subscribers actually have one? Well, there are a lot. Dr. Mike, T-Core, let me think here, Binging with Babish. These are all diamond play button channels, and they all have a channel trailer, every single one of them. So there are a lot of channels that actually have them.
Music-wise, Boyce Avenue has one too. They started on YouTube just doing covers, and they've got a really big one too. So I use that as an example for music channels if you're curious. So yeah, there's lots of channels that do have them, and they're
Boyce Avenue.
Yeah, Throwback.
I haven't. Yeah, I love Noise Avenue. I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, they started on YouTube doing covers, and now they're huge. So
yeah, they got me doing covers like 12 years ago, which I think I privated that channel. Nobody should go look for those because they were awful. But they inspired me to make YouTube videos way back in the day. Community content, yeah. No, nobody needs to see those. But yeah, okay. So trailer. So we talked about the banner. We talked about the trailer. What else is on the channel page that's important to focus on?
Channel sections.
Channel sections. All right.
Yeah, channel sections is a good one. And that's kind of the one thing that I like really encourage people to really fill out, because it does feel like you put the work in when I see it really fleshed out with very intentional, like, because channel section essentially is going to be like, you can make a playlist, you can title whatever you want and have that layered out. And that's your portfolio, really essentially like, here's my videos. And I want to convince you as fast as possible to watch my content. Now that I've got an introduction, you know who I am, the value, let's get you watching as quickly as possible. And again, putting your best foot forward, saying, okay, well, if you're a first-time viewer, you have no context of me, I know you're looking for something. How do I craft this section or playlist title to convince you that this playlist will give you what you're looking for? And I think it's a really great approach. A lot of times the default is you're going to have shorts there. You're going to have one that just says videos. And to me, that's like wasted opportunity, because I can just click the videos tab or the shorts tab and do the same thing, as opposed to putting like my best content there. So
I think the curated sections are such a missed opportunity by so many creators. I think probably the biggest trap that we see is they look like blog categories.
Yeah, true. Or just categorized.
You're just categorizing your content, and that brings me zero value whatsoever. You really want a good example. Definitely check out the Video Creators channel. Tim did these years ago. They're just expertly done. They so craft the reward, the value of every single playlist in there, followed by a deep why it even matters. It's an opportunity. And a lot of people don't really realize that you can actually put a description on those. I would. And just be cognizant also of what's going to show up, how many characters, so that you can be very intentional here. Again, language is key. And it's not about sending them down a bingeable playlist. It's not about getting as much watch time as you can on a playlist. This is all language. It's language to a potential subscribers, a potential tribe member, if you will, of what value you actually have as a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
Me, myself, my viewer signals, for what this is worth, when I stumble upon a video, I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm subscribed to, I'm really ashamed to say it, over 500 channels.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
I need to find out for myself how many.
I love YouTube. I don't watch TV. I watch a ton of YouTube. For me, when I find content, and YouTube is constantly surfacing me new content, and I'll find new creators. When I watch a video that I like and I think about subscribing, if I'm not sure, I go to the channel homepage and then I immediately look at the channel art. I listen. If they have a trailer, I'm really excited. I start listening. I don't necessarily watch it, but I would still craft it like a regular video. And then I start scrolling the channel sections if they have it. I get really excited when somebody's actually done the work here, because it really makes it easy for me to understand if I'm a part of this channel, is this for me? And really, what am I going to get if I come back? And I love thinking through, like, what are the different topic buckets that you lean into? And I would have a playlist maybe for those. Mm-hmm. That makes it super simple for me as a potential subscriber and a potential person who's going to come back and leave comments and become a part of your community, maybe buy some of your products. If you have a business attached to it, what value your channel has for me in me giving you my time. That's the exchange, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I like to encourage, title your channel sections or your playlists like a video title.
Yeah.
It's like very we see all the time. They're just very descriptive. You're just sort of it's almost like a filing cabinet. It's like we have these different organizational cabinets.
Why they do that too, right? Like it's just a natural thing. Like you see it on everything. Like I go to Netflix, I just see like drama, like, crime, so it's just a natural tendency. But yeah, it's not for channel sections, but also too, if you're creating this playlist and you're titling those ways, when you do a call to action in a video, like you can set them that way. It's also intriguing and extend that watch session. And the idea too is I want them to watch as many videos as possible so that they can surface more and more of my content, right? So that's really the goal here.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts because there was a pretty new update for channel sections. It's the For You section.
Yeah.
I don't know if have you guys seen that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. It's basically, YouTube they're going to customize what videos pop up, and it's locked to the top section, like right beneath your channel trailer, if you have one. But it's basically depending on who is landing there and what content they've watched of yours so far, YouTube is going to personalize what videos are recommended to watch kind of in this For You section.
Is that like, can you turn that off, or is that just like defaulted on from now on?
You can turn it off. There's some customization. You can turn it off or on, and then you can also decide, do I want shorts, regular traditional videos, and live? You could select.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember.
Maybe you only want traditional videos showing up there,
right?
But they'll curate it depending on what they think the viewer might like. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Bit of like a TikTok rebuttal, same idea, trying to get the For You, get to watch a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if the viewing patterns or the viewing habits are the same on YouTube as it is on TikTok for that to make sense for me, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I made a weird face.
You did, yeah.
I'm struggling with this one. I do trust it's here's my friction. I trust YouTube's algorithm to surface me the right stuff. That I do. But I don't know if I want it on this page because let's take anybody who has maybe some really long videos and some really short videos. I think I would rather craft that first section intentionally with things that I know people respond really well to, are some of my best foot forward, really help craft the message of the value that I bring to the channel versus random stuff. Because YouTube might just be surfacing things that perform well and something that I might like, but it's not necessarily being intentional, which to me is how I see this page. This entire page, the way we've crafted our strategy around this is really being intentional. And when YouTube curates things, they curate it off performance and, what's going to keep you on the platform longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if the value there right in this moment is going to necessarily serve that purpose.
Seems redundant to me if all of YouTube is a For You page pretty much, right? So that's the whole point of YouTube Shorts as well too. It's going to give me the same idea for me. So it just seems redundant. Yeah.
I'll be turning that off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I could see the value in it. My fear would be if you are a creator and maybe you have some like different, pretty distinct topic buckets, different types of content, I would almost be afraid that YouTube would continue to only show this type of content to these types of people
versus being intentional.
Versus the opposite. Because the benefit of maybe a real world example, there's this guy, it's a gamer, it's a Pokemon channel. He plays a lot of the Pokemon games. And he has these two really distinct buckets. There's these really long sort of like play the game with me, go through the story with me types of videos. And then these kind of punchier, like 15-minute, highly discoverable types of videos. And I just, from my own viewing patterns, I found myself basically just watching the shorter ones to the point where that's all I get recommended. And I actually, and this was because I already am subscribed to the guy. I already kind of know about this other bucket of content he has. But before long, I was like, where's the other type of story? Like, is he just not uploading those anymore? And it really was just YouTube knew I mainly engage with these videos over here. And it was like, there was no crossover for me. So I think the benefit of you being in control of this kind of thing is you can link those different types, those different topic buckets together, which could be helpful.
I think Todd Beaupre, if you're listening, Mr. Algorithm. I don't know if he's in charge of this page, probably not, but it's, this isn't so much about creating a YouTube watch session. And we know that if we get them into a watch session, then we'll appear on their homepage. But like you said, if it's all just about one piece of content, we may not be putting our best foot forward. So there's my argument against it. I think that this page is an opportunity to be very intentional with your language and what your portfolio is, what your business card is. I actually don't like it when YouTube curates playlists on this page. If you want to put YouTube curated playlists, like where they choose all the content, if you can, put them as far down as possible. You at least take a swing at being intentional here with the language that you want to speak with your potential subscriber or community member.
Definitely. Well, I think too, with just intentionality, we haven't really talked about the about section just yet. That has had some changes as well. Ingrid, that was either a sigh of relief or a
very big sigh of disappointment.
So Ingrid, what do you think about the about section? Tell me about it. How do you feel?
Oh my gosh. I can't believe YouTube did this. I think it was such a disservice to creators. And I understand that they're trying different things and they've really kind of moved some things around. And, as we add new tabs like podcasting and shorts and lives and videos, it's becoming a little cluttered. But so they removed the about page. They didn't remove the about page. They just relocated it. So, and this is one of the things that we haven't even talked about is how they even changed, the channel name. You can actually see the first line of the about page directly underneath the subscriber count. So the about page is super, super important. And for those of you who don't have anything on there, that's a missed opportunity. Or if you have the wrong things leading off your about page. But right now you have to click that little triangle. I don't know what the actual what the actual name is for the little arrow. You have to click that to see the about page, which is a missed opportunity, I think, for YouTube, because the about page is such a great way of having that first person language, that conversation with somebody. And it's that little extra bit. I'm a reader. I love to read those. I go to those all the time. So now it's kind of hidden a little bit.
So I actually kind of like the update.
Oh, good Lord.
I don't know why. For me, I think I like the fact that you can just see the first line regardless. To me, I just see another opportunity to just pitch a little bit of value. It's right below your name. I'm looking at an example right now. It does look a little cluttered. I think having because there's also the links. If you have any links in your about section, they populate the links below that. There's just a lot happening.
That's too much.
It does look a little bit messy, but I mean, who knows? Who knows if this will stay this way? If this is just a short-term thing and they'll change it? I don't know. But I would say for right now, if there's any maybe strategy to put towards it, definitely the first sentence, just be thinking, how could I pitch a little bit of value here? Yeah, and just sort of show. I think we talked about Yes Theory. They're a great example because they're seek discomfort. However, they've unpacked it. I think it's we believe. Let me pull it up. Actually,
they changed it.
They didn't change their about page though.
Oh, the about page.
They just changed their channel art, and that's the cool thing too is you can also change your channel art very easily. You can change a lot of these things very easily, which is nice too. And we didn't say that also about channel sections. Let's say you're a how-to channel and you have some things happening like holiday time. You could always create a holiday thing that's a little bit more seasonally and move that up the list. There's so much customization that you can actually do that really is appropriate. I wouldn't overdo it. I wouldn't spend all your time here. Spend your time failing forward in video content. But this is something that you can customize. And, for the people who really lean into this, again, not going to move the needle the most, but it will help with getting the right people to subscribe to your channel. Sorry, go ahead.
So what I hear you saying, real quick, what I hear you saying is that for our channel banner, we're going to put Santa hats on all of us and maybe some Santa Claus beards. Maybe.
What I'm hearing, what I heard was, we need to update our channel art.
Yeah.
So, because Blake's not even up there, so we need to
Really?
add Blake.
No.
We need to add Blake to
No,
it.
we don't need to add Blake.
I haven't
It's
said
fine.
anything. I'm like, I'm okay with that. Let's leave it off for a bit.
That's fine.
And apparently Santa hats. So,
Yes, those are our
although
updates.
I think the audience listening, this might be in 2024.
True. We'll do New Year's hats, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
But I did pull up the Yes Theory channel. There, if you go to YouTube and just look at Yes Theory and then go to their channel page and just look at the About section, they have their value proposition in the first line. We believe life's greatest moments and deepest connections exist outside your comfort zone. I think that's really cool. It's like a very quick, and it's like everyone's slightly different as far as their viewing patterns. Like hearing, Ingrid, that you're more of a reader and you find yourself going to the About section often. I'm kind of the opposite. Like I'm like, ooh, pretty picture. Let me click on the next thumbnail. I'm not much of a reader, so it's kind of nice
me, actually,
for me to have a little bit of extra value right there, because I just don't click over there very often myself. So,
but that's the whole point, is you wouldn't have clicked it, but I would, and now they buried it.
Yeah.
So it's a missed opportunity for people who like that. And it also is an opportunity for you to just have that personalized conversation that's in text, and I mean, versus having like all the links, right there, which feels very cluttered. In my opinion.
I don't love that. I agree.
Yeah, I don't love it. I haven't heard a single person who loved it
I don't know
yet.
why they did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to add too, like with the About section too, like if you get found in search, it also pops up underneath your name in search there too, like in the actual feed, right? So having your value right there, right underneath your name of your channel is also helpful to get that quick value.
Yeah, I think the one takeaway for anybody listening is really be intentional. If you don't have anything in your About section, definitely put something in there, because your, channel icon is going to be the thing that's surfaced around YouTube the most. And that first line, the first part of your About page is going to be there right with it. So lead really with what value you propose to creators versus just some soft talk or something that's in there, fluff talk that doesn't serve you at all, because that's going to be your first impression all across the platform. Definitely. Yeah. So I'm curious, guys, how important is all of this to you for creators listening?
Personally, I feel like this is one of those core, like, secret sauce kind of things that just creates cohesion. That's like the word that comes to mind for me. If we're going to think about our channel from like maybe a bird's eye view, and there's like a lot of these different mechanisms, a lot of these different levers that we're trying to control, from the videos themselves to just the channel in general, the channel branding. I think the more cohesion we can create just helps with momentum. And you said earlier, Ingrid, YouTube's just trying to serve the right content to the right person. So the easier we can make that distinction in like every location on the platform, or as many locations as we can within our control, all it can do is help. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. To me, it's the logical next step after figuring out who your target audience is, because now that you know who it is, they don't know that. How do I communicate to them that I know who they are? So to take that now and figure out how do I communicate it on my channel, so if they come here, they know that it's for them. That's what I want to make the most of, and bombard them with the idea of like, yeah, I know who you are. I know what you're here for. I'm here to serve you with this way. Like, it's the best way to do that.
Yeah. One of the things that I would encourage all creators really to do is, if you did this years ago, how much better are your videos now? Is any of that being represented on your channel page? Or are you relying on the same old playlists from years ago? Yeah, you might have thought through this, but don't forget, this is an opportunity to really stay fresh.
Yeah.
Just take another peek. It's not all about branding. It's really, again, a language for your potential viewer. I want you guys and gals to have as many subscribers as possible, but really the right people coming back to your channel over and over again. Because when you get the right person to come back and watch content over and over, that is the most powerful signal to the algorithm. And that right there is going to be the thing that grows your channel.
Every week, we like to wrap up with a power tip. And for today's power tip, I figured we could just make this even more practical and just kind of walk through exactly do we make some of these changes in our channel branding, really all together when it comes to playlists, if we want to edit our about section, the banner, all of this stuff. So there's two ways you can get there. You can get there from the front end or the back end. If we're going to go there from the front end, we can just go to our own channel page, and you should see some big blue buttons that basically just say customize or edit for some of these sections. You can also just go into your, from the back end, you can go into your YouTube Studio and then go to customization on the left tab. And there's a couple of different tabs within here. The first one you're going to land on is the layout section. And here you can basically choose what do you want your trailer section to be, what are some of the featured sections, featured playlists, and things like that. You can basically curate that home page for your channel page. You can also go into branding here, and under branding, you can change your icon, you can change your banner image, some of these other things as well. And then under basic info, you can change your name, the about section, some of these other elements as well. Thanks for listening to another Video Creators Podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Woohoo. Nice.
We did it. Number 400.
Wow. Yay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Ooh, big balloon there. There we go. There was a point somewhere in the middle there. Ingrid, you got a good thumbs up that popped up.
Yeah, you came up. Yeah, I saw it.
I did?
Yeah.
We got to turn these things off.
I love it.
Oh, good Lord.